Hey, everybody. Thanks for being with us this week. So exciting. This has been a really productive week. We've got a lot of things churning in the background and a lot of things been happening. This has probably been one of the most activity-driven weeks I've had on a personal level in this. And I found myself saying this phrase over and over. So the hope of tonight was this phrase because I've said it so many times this week and it's true. It goosebumps me. It resonates truth. It's honest. It's this mindset that right now I've had this thought where I'm like, here's the phrase. The phrase goes, it's a level playing field right now. It's the wild, wild west right now here. Like anybody's company, anybody's ball game, anybody's game right now. Why? Because everyone's looking at everybody else like that Spider-Man meme of how are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? And whichever one engages and does it in their respective way is going to be what everybody's like, I'm going to do it that way. And they're all going to play the copycat game. And right now it's like, who's going to do it? Who's it going to be? And it's funny because if you go back to the way that I was trained, and I've done it twice, it works the way that I did it, the way I know. I mean, it works on some level. And to me, it's all duplication. And what does that duplication look like? I mean, I'm just like going to get 3 people. Then I'm going to help them get 3 people. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to make as much of an emphasis of getting a new customer as I'm going to make when they first sign up, of showing them where everything's at, onboarding them properly, making sure that they're not a customer service casualty, that they're in the mindset of knowing what this is, how it works, and that little bit of time on the way in and when they get started, combined with helping them get 3, holding them accountable to help them duplicate that while continuing to recruit. That seems to be the thing that worked. And there was a valley of belief for me each time. There was times where I wanted to quit. There was times where everybody quits. And then I'm like, man, is this even going to work? And that next round was when my best people showed up. And then the best people showed up through them. And then all of a sudden we had residual income that was sustainable. And it's like a new company, a new product, a new opportunity, and brand new people. And everyone's doing it this way, that way. And they're following the online people and they're copying the posters and the people with the systems and the people with the ads and the people with the things. And I'm over here doing house meetings with like 10 people. I'm doing house meetings with like 3 people. I'm doing house meetings. I'm doing a 3-way call. I'm doing a Zoom call. I'm doing whatever. And little by little by little by little, those people quit really, really loud on the way in, really, really loud during. And then they didn't last. They went to some other thing, went to some other thing, went to some other thing, like that was going to solve the problem. But you still take you with you to the next company. And 90% of the time, it's like a leadership issue. And it's like, it has to do with yourself. It's like, dude, if people don't want to follow you, people aren't going to follow you. You know, if people don't see the opportunity, they're not going to follow the opportunity. And some people say, oh, you need to build it around you. You need to build it around your team. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm just going to build it around this because I'm here to do this. And if this wasn't here, I would be doing real estate or trading stocks or doing something in the crypto space. I'm here because I believe in this right here. And so I'm promoting this. And yes, I'm building an entire thing around this, not green juice as a whole, this specific product, because there is nothing like it. It's like we leveraged a guy who has hundreds of millions of dollars of sales and he buys product at that marginal, like, situation. He has those terms with his manufacturers. He has the shipping and distribution models already in place. We get to leverage all of that for a brand new thing. Like, am I an idiot? I'm not an idiot. Why would I build it around a thing that's small-minded? I'm building it around this because I'm here and this is my home. I don't know if I'm doing it the right way. I just know I'm doing it in a way that I know that it works for me. And I've watched so many other people do it that way. And I keep asking myself that question. I flirt with the danger, so to speak. Because I'm like, it's 2023. Should I have a TikTok? Should I just make a greens TikTok? Do I need to make a YouTube channel? Do I need to get on the Instagram? I'm not on that. I should get on that. I'm like Facebook. I'm an old fogey. I don't even like social media. I just took a 13-state trip. I don't even post one picture. I don't know. I'm not like, look at me, look at my food. But I'll have a conversation with a stranger in a grocery store and I'll ask if they have a dream. I'll ask if they've got something they're working towards their dream with. And if they don't have one, I ask them if they'll look at mine. I see greatness in everybody. I see the light in people. I see the spark in people, and I want to help them ignite it. And I don't know what that looks like for each individual person, but I'll ask Because yeah, if I want 1 million sales a month going through my sales organization, I gotta get my numbers up. I need to talk to more people. I need to do more house meetings. I need to show this to more people. I need more customers. I want to have so many customers that I'm forced to email market the business because I have that many customers. I don't even care if it's a customer or an influencer, but that's the resounding thought I've had over and over, and I've said it over and over this week, and I'll say it one more time. We are at the wild, wild west level playing field. Half the people that are in are looking to corporate to say, hey, are you going to make the thing that I'm supposed to do? The other half is looking at everybody else. And it's like, somebody's going to join this, think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And there goes your opportunity to be like that first person. It was your thing. If that was your opportunity, that was what you wanted. I don't have that big an ego. I don't need that. I just want the outcome and the income. I want a lot of money that keeps coming in every week, month, and year. So I get a lot of time. And if I get the time and I've got the money, then I can focus on my health with both of those things, which I do. And by sharing health, that's the thing. And as I get closer and closer to my dream, because I can like feel it, I can taste it. Like I've succeeded greatly in real estate in the last couple of months, like greatly. And it does not impress me. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't do anything for me because it's all like everything else. It's just like everybody on here that and watching this that has a job. You get paid, your money gets allocated, and you have so much till the next time you get paid. It doesn't matter how much it is. It's the same stupid formula. That formula doesn't work. We're slaves. We're slaves. It's stupid. But if you build a system that continues to pay you, you're free. Like this is the opportunity, money that continues to come in long after the work stops. And I've had the privilege, the pleasure, and the punishment of being able to have created a residual income twice and tasted it and been paid it. And then it went away. And now I have transactional income. And transactional income does not hit the same. Even if the dollars are higher, it does not hit the same. You're a slave. You get the money, you have to allocate the money. If you don't have another deal lined up, you're in scarcity till the next one comes. And that sucks. It sucks. And it's like, I want this so deeply because I've had it before. I know what it feels like. I know what the work is like. It's arduous in the beginning. It's the analogy that you're pushing a boulder up a hill. And it's hard at first. You get a couple of your friends to help you push it. Y'all are pushing the boulder. And then somebody gets an idea. Hey, what if we pulled the boulder up the hill? I worked legs. Hey, you worked legs. Let's strap this to our back. Let's pull it up. We can pull a rope anywhere, but pushing a rope's a little bit more challenging. So that's the difference, I think, in leadership. It's like you start pulling the boulder and eventually you get to the top of the hill and the thing rolls back past you. You can't stop it if you've tried because you've created inertia. It's going. It's going. And so there's this act of like getting the boulder off of the mountain. And I think to myself, if I had to just get customers or I had to do the thing all myself, if I had to, that's not how duplication works. I need to double down on getting 3 and helping them get 3. In our company right now, there's a founders club. There's a bonus pool if you just stay on AutoShip for 3 years. You get 2% of the total volume of the company paid out to however many people are in that pool. That's amazing. Profit sharing. You got skin in the game just for being on AutoShip for 3 years. Literally like 75% of people will just quit. They don't even make it. Hey, we got free money. We got a money tree. If you water it 6 times a day and say a phrase to it, it'll produce $100 bills. There's 20 people. 19 of them won't even make it that far. It's sad. And it's like, we just have to do a little, help them do a little, and it continues on. And our compensation plan will work like socialism if we can get lost in the 3x3. And so the big epiphany I had this week was it is the wild, wild west. Is it going to be one of you guys? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be Peyton? Is it going to be somebody we don't even know? We don't know. And so I just find myself thinking all week long, I'm like, I had a phenomenal month. I look back, we had a phenomenal 90 days. Like we did really, really good in our household. And I'm just like depressed. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm just sad. I'm like, this isn't residual. I didn't come here to get transactional income and have no time. I don't care about the job and how great the job is. We came here to create a system. And in a world where they want you disease dependent, dumb, and like just straight, like, what do they call it? Where you're like completely dependent upon them. It's such a form of rebellion and anarchy to promote this product and to help people beat inflation, get everything they need in their body in a day. And yeah, you've heard me say it over again. You're going to hear me say it again. That's what we're doing here. So that's what I got for this week. I'm going to pass it to Peyton.
Sweet. It's super exciting. There's a couple of different things that I wanted to hit on. It's funny, like Kevin and I didn't really prepare tonight at all, but there's like some things that I already had in mind that actually just like piggyback and segue so perfectly to what Kevin was just describing. So the first thing that I want to kind of hit on is just this idea. Like if you haven't heard this quote before, this quote is it's kind of haunting, but this is such a good one. It basically says, "You have residual bills. If you're alive on this earth, you're going to have residual bills. Why not have residual income?" And it's so interesting if you think about it. You know, I spend a fair amount of time on social media, and I spend a fair amount of time following different accounts that talk about business, that talk about finance, that talk about success. And if you go and read the comments on any of these, ever, they're just, you can see so quickly what really ails the people at large, right? It's like you see that they are just plagued by this negative mindset. And a good example of that will be anything that has anything to do with housing, you know, and people will say, well, the responsible way to buy a house is to, you know, save up 3 to 6 months of living expenses, and then to save up you know, like 20% down payment ideally, and have your, you know, payment of that home be no more than 30% of your take home pay, and so forth and so on. And basically then inside of those comment sections, you'll be like, yeah, meet us in the real world. Like, easy for you to say all these different things. And so it just goes to show you like how many people are already defeated. And so what that tells me is that it's not, you know, like we all have the opportunity in our lives, no matter what the situation is, to basically say, like, are we going to have a fixed mindset, or are we going to have a growth mindset? The fixed mindset says that basically I'm a victim. I'm a casualty of circumstance. And Carol Dweck writes about it in her book Mindset. And the growth mindset is, this presents a challenge I'm not comfortable with. This presents something that I'm not familiar with. I don't know how to overcome it, but I have a belief system that I can learn it, right? And as a segue, one of the things about this business that's so important is to grow yourself, right? And why? Because ultimately, how does somebody go from a situation where they feel helpless and hopeless, like they can never buy a house, like that dream might never be realized, to then suddenly one day being in a position where they actually can become a homeowner, right? Like I have a great friend that through this business model this month just was able to, after a goal for 7 years, they were able to create enough income, leverage income to purchase their first home. This is a couple in their late 20s. They didn't have any vocational training. They didn't have a professional career, right? But they saw this, they saw entrepreneurship. They saw the idea, like Jim Rohn talks about, that profits are better than wages, right? Like right now, if we talk about it, Kevin and I both are in the real estate space. Like the economics in the US today is like, people always talk about, well, what's a good wage, you know, and you'll hear people say anything from like $18 an hour to $28 an hour, something like that. But the truth is if you start looking at what the housing market costs, you know, different in different parts of the country, but it's like, if that's part of somebody's goal, right, the quote unquote American dream, like the reality is like you actually need like 50 or 60 bucks an hour. And that is like this astronomical amount of money. Like there's not a lot of 50 and 60 and $70 an hour jobs. There's professions with salaries in those ranges, but the masses do not feel collectively like they have access to that. So what do? Right? Do we just let them all like just dangle into the abyss? Or do we at least extend a hand and say, look, I don't know if this is for you. I don't know if you're open to it. I don't know if you want to do this, but like, hey, if you're looking at the math and the math ain't mathin', I got an idea that can maybe help, right? Because profits are better than wages, and we can show you how to create profit without having to become, you know, like a serial entrepreneur, without having to become a startup aficionado, without having to quit what you're already doing, without having to, you know, like leverage venture capital money and like gamble the whole thing, right? Like the thing that's so potent and so amazing about this is that 99% of people simply can't get something started because they're at the end of their rope. They're at the end of their bandwidth, right? Like they're already working 40, 45, 50 hours at the job. They're already, you know, juggling all the different bills. They're spinning plates to make sure things work. They're negotiating with the power company so that they can pay the gas company. They're negotiating with the gas company so they can keep the internet on, right? Like, and so the idea of, well, how do I even start a business? Like, sure, everybody should start a business, you know, and it's like, but it's like most people, you know, not everybody, but many people, I would say tens of millions of people, at least in this country, they don't have a month's worth of runway or 2 months or 3 months worth of runway. And we have to remember that when we're communicating with people, is that it's so easy for us to become internal. It's so easy for us to think somebody doesn't want my greens business. They might think that this is stupid. They might think I'm trying to sell them something. They might think that it's a pyramid. They might think that, you know, they don't want it, like not open to network marketing, whatever. Right. But it's like, again, when we're little, we basically don't give up on walking after trying 2 or 3 times, right? Most people are pretty motivated to have a spouse and date and have kids, like if that's their path, right? They don't most of the time give up on that after 1 or 2 or 3 times. I mean, maybe they go back to video games and just like throw it in the towel, but we're pretty persistent about the things that we evolutionarily are designed to go after, right? You'll hear people say this is your birthright. Well, what if we got ourselves in the mindset that abundance is our birthright? And this is just simply a vehicle to that abundance. That's one thought. Here's a second thought that I had tonight. There's a woman who was arguably the highest paid female in the world in this space for the last 10 years. She's making over $1 million a month. She's like well into the $400,000 or $500,000 per week vicinity. Now, she was in a company for the last 7 years. She unfortunately passed away just recently. But what's so interesting about that is there's another networker who was in that company who had been actively trying to recruit her for a year. And she just was like, no, I'm not into that, so forth and so on. And, and ironically, he had left because that company was not growing vertically. And then a year later, she comes in, becomes not only the number one earner in the company, but she becomes the number one earner in all of network marketing. I mean, so the idea is like, and you know what? Like, she's a pretty stand-up person. She probably would have went with that guy had he just continued being a leader and showing up in that particular program. But he had left. She comes in, changes the entire game, and so forth and so on. And so one of the kind of messages that I always have is that we, you know, I've talked about sowing and reaping so many times, but we cannot forget that we do not have the ability to see what seeds are actually sprouting under the soil. Like, there might be seeds that have been planted already that maybe are 1 degree away from the person that not only changes your life, but changes the company's trajectory, that changes the industry's trajectory. We don't know. Like, those seeds could already be planted. And so really, this is just a game of survivorship. It's just a game of saying, I'm just going to stay and keep going and stay and keep going and stay and keep going and stay and keep going. And the last thing I'm going to kind of end on is this, is that I heard this a long time ago. For me personally, it's really easy to get caught up in the idea of how is this going to grow big? How's it going to go exponential? Who's going to come in and do it? Like, wanting all of the evidence to appear before me in order to have faith, right? But faith is ultimately belief in the unseen before we see it. And so what I like to do is I like to think about this. I say, who is the most important person that you can bring into this company? And the answer is, it's you. It's me. I'm the most important person. And it's like, if I always think about this, I'm like, if this is a monkey see, monkey do community, right? And it's like, what do I actually want to have happen? Do I want to have one guy or one woman come in who's just the biggest of all time and then pass away in 5 years, and then I'm back to a business that now I don't have control over? Or do I want thousands and thousands and thousands of individuals who make a personal commitment to themselves to just be a little bit better tomorrow than they were today, to just have a little bit better week this week than they had last week, to just improve their nutrition a little bit, to rely on this product a little bit, to share it, to gather a customer, 2 customers, 3 customers, 4 customers, to start to build simply a community that had just realized that, look, like, we're under assault with our nutrition. We're under assault with inflation. We're under assault. And it's like, so what are we going to do? As a community, can we just start to look for ways to make our own individual lives a little bit better? And by simply doing that, lead the way and shine light for those that might want to do the same. Like, if I had that organization, like if I had 100 people that were just simply walking more every day, they heard me say that, like, the best thing that you can do for your health, if you're not doing it already, is to drink 20 to 30 ounces of water first thing in the morning within 30 minutes of waking up. What's even better to do that is, like, that's a really difficult task for a lot of people to drink the water. Like, it's actually kind of hard to get that water down. It's easier when you got greens in it, right? And now you've added a pillar of your nutrition plus your hydration for the day. So it's like, if I had 100 people that simply were like texting me and firing me up and saying, hey, I drink my greens, 20 minutes after I woke up today, I did it 5 days in a row. Like, that's as good of a currency as if you had 10,000 people doing it, right? Like, at some point, like, what are we really trying to accomplish? Like, drink greens, go walking, smile more, feel like you have control over the future, and influence the people in your family and your community to do the same thing. And it's such a foundational story. Like, that's good nutrition. That's not hype. That's not BS. That's not fluff. Like, I'll be saying that next week, and I'll be saying that in a year, and I was saying it a year ago. And it's like, that's truth that lands, right? And so it's like, what do we need to do? Really? We just need to do that. And then we just need to invite people to do it. And if you're somebody that's comfortable inviting one person a month, awesome. I'm so excited that you're here. If you're somebody that's comfortable inviting one person a day, awesome. Like, if you're someone like Kevin that's willing to go and invite 3 people at Walmart, like, you're probably going to make me nervous, but I'm excited to have you. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just kind of a, what can I do this week to kind of move the checkers forward? And I'll leave you guys with this, and then we'll wrap it up right now, is that if you're not actively participating in personal development, I highly recommend that you do so. We always taught that you read 10 pages of a good book a day. I do personally believe that if you sit down and read, there's something that happens in our brain that's different than, if we listen or if we scroll. Listening and scrolling is more of a passive activity. Actually, sitting and reading is an active activity. But at the very least, if you're not going to sit and read, let's listen. And for this week, I just got done listening to the podcast with Arnold Schwarzenegger on the Tim Ferriss show. And Arnold talks about, so many of the things that made him such a crushing success, and super inspirational. So if you're a fan of Arnold, or if you're not, there's a couple of really key takeaways that he has in there. I challenge you to do a couple of things this week. First thing I challenge you to do is to drink your greens every single morning when you wake up. Second thing I challenge you to do is to go for a walk every single day. If you already go for a walk, maybe go for a second walk. And the third thing that I challenge you to do is to listen or read a piece of quality content per day. It doesn't have to be the Arnold one, but if you don't have anything to listen to, let's all jump on the Arnold one. And that's what I got. But like Kevin said, it is the Wild West. And what's so interesting is, I love that saying. It basically says everything seems impossible until it's done. These companies get big, the incomes get huge, and then everybody wonders how everybody did it. And the truth is that this is how they did it. So grateful for you guys. And that's all I got.